New Texas bill seeks to ban gender-affirming care for all ages, chat. For all ages. A newly introduced Texas bill, HB 3399, aims to ban gender-affirming medical care for all individuals regardless of age. We love the party of freedom, the party of rights. By replacing references to children with persons, the bill would criminalize hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and gender-affirming surgeries for adults as well as minors. If passed, it would make Texas the most restrictive state for transgender health care. In a move that stunned LGBTQ advocates, medical professionals, and civil rights organizations, the Texas legislature introduced House Bill 3399 on February 26, 2025, which aims to ban gender-affirming care for all ages, not just minors. The bill, spearheaded by Republican Representative Money, Party of Family Values. Representative Money is trying to ban the trans. Amends previous legislation targeting transgender youth by replacing reference to children with persons. The implications of this bill are unprecedented. While several conservative-led states have implemented bans on gender-affirming care for minors, Texas appears to be taking a draconian leap forward, prohibiting it for everyone, which has been condemned by the American Medical Association and American Psychiatric Association. Does this also include men getting testosterone to helping with ED and stuff? No. No, it does not. It bans gender-affirming care for gender transitions. So you know, a man whose dick doesn't work properly could still get Viagra. He could still get, his testosterone cream to help him with his low testosterone from the natural byproduct of aging. A woman can still get a boob job. But dare I say, if you want to get your biddies removed or disabled so that you can have some sort of transition to assist your brain, no, that's illegal. At its core, HB 3399 broadens the language of Texas' existing gender-affirming care ban to eliminate all references to minors, replacing them with persons. Under the proposed legislation, hormone replacement therapy, puberty blockers, gender-affirming surgeries would be completely outlawed for all individuals, and here's the important part, seeking to transition. So again, a boob job, and in some cases a rhinoplasty, or like a chin shaving surgery, is gender-affirming care, but it's, affirming the gender that you already are. State funds, Medicaid, insurance providers would be prohibited from covering any transition-related procedures. Ain't no way you're an actual lawyer. Welcome in, Fritz Nava. I am. Even if an individual was already undergoing treatment. Public money cannot be used to fund medical institutions, universities, or healthcare providers that offer gender-affirming care, further stripping medical access from transgender individuals. So trans advocacy groups have warned that, HB 3399 will have devastating consequences for transgender adults receiving HRT and other transition-related care. Because, people who are receiving hormones so that they continue to have the body that they have and have a hormone balance that's necessary for that body, would be difficult for that. The bill would force those currently on HRT to medically wean off their treatment, a process that could take months, cause hormonal whiplash, severe depression, and dangerous withdrawal symptoms. The nationwide implications of the bill cannot be overstated. Wait a minute, Chad. Let's have a quick second. No, you'd probably ban me. Go ahead. Ask your question. What do you want to ask, Fritz? Go ahead. You got the floor right now. You just came in. What do you want to say? Go on, say it. Go for it. HB 3399, if enacted, would likely face immediate lawsuits on grounds of violating the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. So, the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause permits basically the equal protection under the law of all persons. It makes sure that you can't treat people differently. For example, equal protection is why school segregation is now banned. You can't treat black people different from white people. you can't treat women differently from men. That's the difference between, what's called strict scrutiny under equal protection and moderate scrutiny. So you can't treat races differently, you can't treat people based off their gender differently. So if you are in a situation where you're treating people differently, that's likely going to come under at least intermediate scrutiny for this kind of ban. So HB 3399, again, this bill to make transgender folks just illegal in the state of Texas, is currently making its way through committee hearings, expected to receive fierce opposition from Democratic lawmakers who have tended to be completely useless, and medical professionals and LGBTQ advocates. With Republicans holding a majority in both the Texas House and Senate and having the governorship, the bill has a real chance of passing, though. So let's take a quick look at this. So this is HB 399. I love in the top left where it says by quote unquote money, by Representative Money. So you can see that what it does is it just crosses out, the existing laws which banned gender transition, gender reassignment for children, and just making them for everyone. So, when you're dealing with laws meant for children, the state has more power to do that because under the 10th Amendment to the United States, states have what are called, police and welfare powers. They have the duty, the ability to regulate for the safety and the well-being of their citizens, which includes, this kind of paternalistic idea of protecting the children. So, these kinds of like state-based laws banning transition and stuff for children on the idea of protecting the children, there's still equal protection concerns, but minors have fewer protections than adults. So I think, especially with the 6-3 conservative Supreme Court, the existing bill probably would be found to be lawful. I don't think it should be lawful, but it would be lawful. But, making this for everyone, now you're bringing up equal protection under the law. You're bringing up the idea that folks are being told by the government what they can do with their body in a medical way, which is insane to me. So, this includes performing a surgery that sterilizes a person for a gender transition way. So, chat, if you want to get a castration, a vasectomy, if you want to have your balls turned off, you better not, the government's going to look at you and say, are you getting your balls turned off because you want to stop making kids? Or are you getting your balls turned off because you're secretly a woman? I think we can all agree that the government shouldn't be asking you why you're having your testicles, turned off. I think that's bad. Hysterectomy, same, getting, your ovaries and whatnot taken out. They're asking you, are you doing that because you don't want to make any more kids because you're done making arrows for the quiver of God? Or because you're secretly a man? Would that cover breast removal for men with gynecomastia? Could you argue that is gender affirming care? So this would not apply to breast removal for men, chill, because, this is for prohibited provisions of gender transitioning or gender reassignment procedures and treatments. They're looking at not just the act of what's happening, but the reasoning behind the act. So gynecomastia for men is where you develop too much fatty breast tissue, caused usually by having too much estrogen in your system, which can happen often in puberty. When you're a man going through puberty, oftentimes, your testosterone spikes. And the way the body breaks down testosterone, in part, is by converting it into estrogen. So men who have high testosterone also tend to have high estrogen. And that high estrogen content can trigger, fatty breast tissue. So getting that removed, that's fine. You can do that. So this is what we were talking about earlier. This would also block puberty suppression drugs or blocking prescription drugs to delay puberty. supraphysiologic doses of testosterone to females, which means, more testosterone than the female body usually produces, which is only something like 15, I want to say like micrograms or something like that. I'm not familiar with the unit of measurement, but it's very low. And supraphysiologic doses of estrogen to males. Because again, Chad, you always have estrogen as a male. If you don't have estrogen as a male, what happens is your joints stop working. And you just get mad all the time, and you get sad. Oftentimes when people talk about like roid rage, for example, it's because they're also taking these drugs that block estrogen production so that they don't develop like fatty breast tissue. So they have super low estrogen, which causes like weird mood side effects. Microplastics are already there. I'm gonna just open up a hotel. Oh my God, Chad, please do not attempt to get yourself your own gender affirming care via microplastics. We have to justify literally everything. That's so much government oversight, which I imagine the government will not actually want to process the nuance. No, they're not going to want to process the nuance. Every vasectomy, every hysterectomy is going to be put under a microscope, potentially by a district attorney, to determine why did that medical procedure happen? Was there a legal reason for it? And yes, Dr. Crowbar, we've had, over 100 years of transgender surgeries internationally. It's insane. So, yeah, this is also, again, prohibiting the use of public money to fund this, which means, any kind of public money can't go to this. So, if you're poor living in Texas and you're getting your transgender care, even if you're an adult, let's say you're getting your estrogen through Medicaid, you can't anymore. They're going to turn off your Medicaid. They're going to turn off your estrogen. They're going to turn off your Medicaid for that. And it's just awful. I think this is a real shot at passing. Let's take a quick look at Representative Brent Money. I think we could have all guessed that Brent Money is a white guy, who went to Texas A&M University. He has a JD from a Christian university. A JD is a Juris Doctorate. Wait, don't you have a right to privacy in your house and everything? Ain't passed through the Constitution that can be used in that. Roderick, what you're referring to is the right to privacy in one's medical decisions kind of comes from a case called Griswold v. Connecticut. So Griswold v. Connecticut is what made birth control legal in the United States. And what it found was that there was a penumbra of rights to privacy that exists in the Constitution. A right to privacy can be inferred from several amendments in the Bill of Rights, and the rights to prevent states from making use of contraceptions by married couples was illegal. 7 out of 9 white guys back in the 60s was able to figure this out. And so Chill Desario asks, wasn't Roe v. Wade argued on privacy grounds? Yes. Roe v. Wade, welcome in, Taki, which was introduced, a few years after this, I believe in 1972, was based off of the privacy right that began in Griswold. Roe v. Wade was, overturned about a year and a half ago. Nothing's come from that other than the fact that abortion is becoming more and more illegal across the United States, depending on your state. But absolutely, this conservative Supreme Court has Griswold in its sight. There's a real chance that your right to privacy, comes under attack. Which is also why, HB 3399, if Griswold's overturned, if we lack a right to privacy, if we find that being transgender isn't something that's defensible under the Equal Rights Amendment, the Equal Rights Amendment, but the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, then there's nothing. Then this is legal. It's perfectly fine for Texas to do this if that's what happens. And there's a real chance all of that happens. Thanks to our good friend Brent Money. 6th generation resident of Hunt County, the first attorney in his family. This man is really something. Really, really something. The party of small government, yeah. Let's look at another law that was recently introduced by Brent Money, which is 12 lines. I don't think this guy likes to write much. An act relating to repealing insupportability as a ground for divorce. What is insupportability, chat? Let's find out. Let's find out together. Insupportability means the marriage is destroyed by a discord of the personalities in a marriage. The Texas Family Code explains that marriage is considered insupportable in the event of discord or conflict of personality that destroys the legitimate ends of the relationship and prevents any reasonable expectation of reconciliation. So Brent Money wants to make it impossible to divorce because you hate your fucking partner. Because you guys can't get along anymore. That's insane. It is a fancy word for being incompatible, yes. So, you know, the party of family values wants to make it such that you can't be trans in Texas. And if you and your wife aren't getting along in your marriage, she can't divorce you. Texas regulation is going to do a lot of pull and big money tech calls from Cali. Firms which have a lot of trans representation might get blocked by purely big business, not looking to isolate Thailand markets. LP, that is Laserpick. That is, I would say, an optimistic view on what could happen here. I think, especially federally, we've seen the right-wing conservatives who have these moralistic feelings about what family should be, about trans folks, about gay people. They're just making these decisions without caring really about the economic consequences. They just want to hurt these people at this point. So, you know, I hope this bill doesn't pass. I hope, you know, they don't remove insupportability as a means of divorce in Texas. But I somehow doubt it. Okay. They want to feel righteousness, not make life better. Yeah, they want to feel righteousness. They don't want to make life better. These are, you know, the types of Christians who will come out and yell at a woman leaving an abortion clinic rather than, you know, provide money for someone who's going through a hard time. What does cyber libel do? I don't know what cyber libel is. I know what libel is. I believe cyber's that thing that we did back in 2011 in AIM chats. Nixing no-fault divorce has been a weird long-time obsession of the U.S. right wing for a while. Oh, no, it's not a weird obsession. It's based off of the prospect that there's a lot of weird conservative men who don't want to have or allow their wives to divorce them. They don't want them to be able to leave them. They want to be able to be shitty husbands and trap a woman who they can use kind of as a maid, as a homemaker, into doing what they want. Speaking of wanting to hurt people, does insupportability also cover abusive relationship, or is that addressed separately? I believe, I'm not a Texas attorney, but I believe, you know, actual abuse would be something more than just insupportability. I believe, you know, now we're looking at fault divorces, and I don't believe they're trying to take that away. I think they're just trying to take more just, you're being a shitty husband. You're not doing what you need to do to meet your wife's needs. You're not hurting them. You're not hitting them. You might not be berating them that heatedly. Mark Rise, I don't answer specific legal hypotheticals. I apologize. There are a lot of unlikable men who can only pretend for a few months to trick her into marriage. Knock. Come on. I think that's maybe only like 30% of men. The type of Christians that never recognize the time Jesus whipped the money lenders out of church. Yes, Alex. The type of Christians who never recognize that.